Hey everybody, welcome back to another Ritter Roundup. Today was a glorious day. We traveled all the way to London just to stomp the Bucks into the ground. I got to say, this was an absolutely amazing game. Watching the Monsters on Mint Street just tear away and take this game in one direction and not even let them come back. Real quick, basic overview of what happened today. 37-26, Panthers beat the Bucks. The game wasn't even that close, though. If you go through and you watch the first half of the game, second half, a little bit of adjustments by the Bucks. They tried to claw their way back in. There was just too much to fight against and not enough time for them. For the Panthers, the offense really didn't have to do too much today because the defense just set the tone. The game opened and closed on Bradberry interceptions, and Bradberry had a heck of a day. Mike Evans was targeted 17 times. He had 9 receptions for 96 yards, no touchdowns. There was one that could have really gone, but Bradberry was able to break that up on second effort. That was the only time that I really thought Mike Evans got the better of Bradberry. Bradberry wasn't the only thief to show up today. The defense walked away with 7 turnovers, 6 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles. Actually, I think it was 4 forced fumbles. Almost half of the Buccaneers' drives were stopped by a turnover. This was absolutely amazing play by the Carolina defense. And you know what? As Carolina just kept getting more and more opportunities, it was 20 points off of turnovers. Now, when you look at it, it's 20 points off of 7 turnovers, but you take the last one away because obviously they're just going to ice the clock, and you're looking at 20 off of 6 turnovers. I mean, they could have done a lot more with that. However, they didn't have to. They didn't have to put the ball in jeopardy, and they didn't have to play really risky offense and play close to the chest, which is actually pretty darn important. I mean, if you look at the total yardage, Panthers had 268 total yards today against the Bucks 407. And this just seemed really out of proportion, but the Bucks were just tossing the ball up, trying to get something, trying to claw their way back into this game, and they just didn't stand a chance. Kyle Allen went 20 for 32 for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of which was bailed out by Curtis Samuel. The other one was an absolutely amazing play when I checked down to Christian McCaffrey. And I mean, he just put 2 defenders on skates, stiff arms another one, and just waltzes into the end zone. But that kind of makes up for the fact that on his first touchdown today, he absolutely had to have the first, the second, and the third effort and stretch across the goal line, and he still almost didn't get the touchdown until one official put his arms up. But I gotta say, the Bucks defense came out to play. They did their absolute best to keep their offense in the game. I mean, when Jameis Winston wants to throw the ball away and just give the game away, he will do it. And today was one of those days where he had just an absolute plethora of turnovers. I thank him for it. It was awesome. It was a great thing because I had to wake up really early to watch this game. The Bucks defense did set a pretty good tone, though, stopping Christian McCaffrey from almost any type of production today. The Carolina rushing attack was 29 attempts across all the different players with only 59 yards. However, there were 2 touchdowns out of that. One, like I said earlier, was Christian McCaffrey. The other one was an end around to Curtis Samuel, which was absolutely just disrespectful because the Bucks didn't even pay attention to it, and Curtis Samuel was just walking into the corner of the end zone. It was awesome. On the other end of it, the Buccaneers had 14 rushing attempts for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. I got to say that I really was kind of surprised that they didn't stick to the ground game a little bit more and try and keep themselves in this game. However, Sack Street or G2X or whatever you want to call our front seven absolutely set the tone today. They got there to Jameis Winston, 7 sacks. Gerald McCoy had 2.5 himself. Vernon Butler, who we were all thinking is just not going to be on the team next year, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, goes through and gets 2 sacks today. I mean, he's just been tearing it up since KK had to go on IR. If you want to know where this ball went, though, tackling leader today was Bradberry. And I mean, the Goatberry went out there and it was just all over Mike Evans. He had 10 tackles, all of them solo. Absolutely fantastic job by him. I mean, Luke Kuechly came in with 6. He was 4th on the tackle list today because they just weren't throwing over the middle. He did get his interception, though, and I mean, it was just a mean interception. It looks like he blows his assignment, passes off the tight end to Shaq, and he's just floating underneath this crossing route. Jameis doesn't even look at him. If you look on the replay, Jameis is going to a second read to the wide receiver, and he's not even looking Everybody's going to throw the ball. He's just throwing to the mark where he knows the receiver's going to be, and Luke's just sitting there. He just takes it, and he's like, yep, I got this. We're good. I'll see you next time. But the story isn't all good today. And I got to say that Sly is just getting nervous or something. I mean, he even got a free kick. It was long. It was 60 yards. But he got a free kick, and he missed it wide right. I don't understand what the man's doing. But every once in a while, you know what? He's young. He's a rookie. He's swole kicker. He'll get it. He'll figure it out. He's probably got Graham Gano on speed dial, trying to get some mentorship. I'm good with it. It hasn't cost us a game yet. We'll be fine. We'll just go on from there. But I do want to point something out. The special teams were able to get that free kick because they were a well-coached unit. I mean, the Bucs had 3 kicking penalties like on the punt team right in a row. Like, that's just a poorly coached team right there, or poorly coached unit right there against our extremely well-coached unit. Fair caught the ball with 1 second left and got us an opportunity to kick that free kick. And it just shows time and time again that even though every once in a while something might go wrong, our special teams unit is just a very well-coached team. I'm really enjoying watching them. It used to be that they used to be a liability for us, and now it looks like special teams is turning into an asset. Another way you can tell the Panthers are getting a little bit more well-coached is today there were only 3 penalties on the Panthers, 3 for 30 yards. Against the Bucs, they had 9 for 70 yards. I mean, that's a huge difference in and of itself. But getting back into the game plan, I mean, it just looked like the Bucs wanted Kyle Allen to be the one to beat him today. He didn't really have to after like halfway through the second quarter. The Bucs were just beating themselves. It was like watching the old cartoons where Wile E. Coyote has like the mallet, and instead of hitting the Roadrunner, he's just hitting himself over the head. That was Jameis Winston hitting the rest of the Bucs over the head repeatedly today. I was really happy to see some of the receiving threats get integrated back into the game plan this week. I mean, you're sitting here with Curtis Samuel. He's got 2 touchdowns on the day. You've got DJ Moore, 7 targets, 73 yards. 7 catches, 73 yards, 10 targets. Curtis Samuel, 4 catches, 70 yards. That was 6 targets. Greg Olsen, 4 catches, 52 yards, 7 targets. I mean, you're seeing the ball just get distributed all over the place. Jarius Wright had a bad day. He had a couple really bad drops. But overall, the offense kind of clicked as much as it needed to without really having to do too much. The only thing I would have really liked to see was at the end of the game, just a long, sustained drive, kind of like that 99-yard drive that we had in the first half. I mean, if you look at the probability of getting a safety versus getting a touchdown, they're about even at that point because you're starting on the 1-yard line. And you know what? Absolutely fantastic job by the offense. Arma got us just a couple yards. Christian McCaffrey just gets a little bit more, and all of a sudden you just see the offense start clicking here, there. They get the Bucs defense tired, and then they get out there and they get all the way to the other end of the field, and then they just run it in. It was a great thing to see, that 99-yard drive led by Kyle Allen. I wasn't sure we would see something like that. I would have liked to see that at the end of the game too, though. For me, this game was just the epitome of keep pounding. These guys just went through. They knew that they had a tough matchup, and they just said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to win my assignment. Daly at left tackle, Van Roten right beside him. They said, I'm not going to get beat today. I'm not going to let Shaquille Barrett go through and make a huge stat line today. And in fact, it looks like they blanked him on the stat line. Absolutely fantastic job by the offensive line, by the defensive line, by the entire team as a unit to walk out of this thing with a victory. It really could have been a 50-some-odd point game if Ron Rivera had just put his foot down, pedal to the metal, let the offense just kind of rip roar and just keep taking huge chunks off the field. I think that this game could have easily turned into a 50 or 60-point game, but it wasn't worth putting the ball in jeopardy that much. Yeah, the Bucs were putting man-to-man coverage on all of our receivers, not really putting safeties over the top. We could have easily had some wins on that, but we also could have probably had a couple. We could have had a couple turnovers there, and that would have really brought the game back. I mean, the Ray McCloud fumble, instead of potentially going up by 3 scores and keeping the Bucs just blanked, we go through and it ends up 10-7 instead of 17 or 13-0. Like, you got to give me a break on this one. Anyway, the Panthers walked out of London with the win. That is absolutely fantastic. We still don't have Cam Newton back. We still don't have Greg Little back. We still don't have Dante Jackson back. But these are guys we're going to get back mid-season, and hopefully they'll be at 100% health. And that's really going to be an increase for this team. Up next, we got San Francisco. San Francisco is absolutely no joke. They're undefeated right now. They might not have played some of the best teams in the league, but you can't go undefeated without being a good team. So let's see what the Panthers do. I'll do a preview video later this week. If you like this, go ahead and hit like. If you want to, hit subscribe. I wouldn't mind it. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this game. If it's anything to do with Kyle Allen replacing Cam Newton in the long run, I got into it on Twitter today. I'll do another quick comparison again this week, maybe if I have time. I don't really want to because I don't think it's even a discussion. Anyway, this has been Ritter, and we'll see you next time.